Chapter 141, Illusion. The Mo family. Young master, the award ceremony is over. Miss Lan is indeed first place, Mo-san said. How much can you believe in what happened last time? Mo Jinrong had been brooding about yesterday's incident. He had clearly seen what Lan Anran had done to him, and his symptoms had lightened, but he still didn't believe her words. I don't think Miss Lan is a liar. Do you want to ask her for the recipe for the incense, so that you can relax when you're ill? There's no need. I don't want to alert her. In any case, Lan Anran is always by my side when my illness relapses, so I don't need to ask her. Incense can't solve the root problem. The key is to find Zero. If what she said is true, the person who condensed the incense for Lan Anran must be Zero. He felt that there was only one step between him and Zero, just one step every time. Young master, why don't you post online to look for Zero? If Zero sees it, you offer a higher price. He will definitely come over to treat you. Mo-san couldn't understand. That uncle of mine is eyeing me covertly. No one has seen Zero before. I don't want to take the risk. Mo Jinrong had previously thought of searching for traces of Zero online, but with Mo Chang-wen's interference, he had no choice but to investigate in secret. Young master, speaking of Mr. Mo, he hasn't been behaving himself recently. The people I sent informed us that Mr. Mo found a few people to follow Miss Lan. It seems that he wants to kill her. Mo-san was worried. He couldn't wait any longer. It seems that my wife's Jinx's name has something to do with Uncle. Keep a close eye on him and don't let anything slip unless it's absolutely necessary. Lan Anran just has to stay alive, Mo Jinrong said. Young master, aren't you worried about Miss Lan's safety at all? Mo-san looked at Mo Jinrong, who was calmly not caring about Lan Anran at all. If she really is Hacker Q, she must have a way to escape. Isn't this a good chance to test her? Mo Jinrong's lips lifted slightly as though everything was under control. The last time young master asked me to check the batch of medical equipment, I found some clues. The Lan family did send in a batch of medical equipment. Besides the different logos from the Lin Corporation, the number is exactly the same as the machines. Mo-san was doubtful. Did the Lan family really buy the medical equipment? Mo Jinrong was suspicious. Young master, the batch of medical equipment was originally meant to be sold to the poor, but now Miss Lan has bought them all. She must have known of Chiang Tai-An's existence. It seems that Miss Lan isn't simple. Mo-san had the same thoughts. Since you know where it went, let's not care anymore. The medical equipment incident is over. Watch Lan Anran closely and don't let anything happen to her, Mo Jinrong instructed. But I can't stop Mr. Mo. Yesterday, Shu Chang-hee had already reported to Shu Pei. I think Madam will probably talk to old Mrs. Mo. She can say whatever she wants. Tell Mo Chang-wen that if he really attacks Lan Anran, I think we need to call the board of directors to teach him a lesson and make him behave. Also, tell Shu Chang-hee to scram and never appear in Wrong City again. I don't want to see him. Mr. Mo was giving Mo Chang-wen a heads up, hoping he would stop. Young master, are you jealous? Mo-san suddenly asked. He had never seen his young master's jealous expression before. What a joke. Why would I be jealous? Lan Anran and I are just contractually married. I don't care what she does as long as it doesn't tarnish the Mo family's reputation. Mo Jinrong spoke seriously. Young master, if Miss Lan really enters the Wrong City Research Institute, he won't just be a contractual couple anymore. Mo-san reminded him that the Wrong City Research Institute had Mo Jinrong's shares. It could be said that many of the Mo family's secrets were gathered there, including Mo Jinrong's own secrets. He was the biggest shareholder of the Wrong City Research Institute. Speaking of which, Jin Lin was working for Mo Jinrong. If Lan Anran entered the Research Institute, she would definitely find some secrets about the Mo family, and Mo Jinrong's secrets would be exposed. Tell Jin Lin that no matter what, we have to make it harder for Lan Anran to enter the Research Institute. We can't let her enter the Research Institute successfully. Mo Jinrong thought for a second. Got it. I'll get it done. Mo-san turned around and Mojin-Rong had a moment of peace. He had been revolving around Lan Anran all day. He didn't know when it started, but when he closed his eyes, his mind was filled with images of Lan Anran. He would even dream about her. He wondered if he was going crazy or if he was hallucinating from watching Lan Anran all day. At this moment, Lan Anran's voice sounded in his ear. Jinrong? Jinrong? Lan Anran walked in softly. Mojin-Rong felt like he was crazy. No matter what he did, he saw Lan Anran in his dreams. But he also heard her voice. Jinrong! Jinrong, wake up! Chapter 142, so familiar. Mojin-Rong suddenly opened his eyes and saw Lan Anran really standing in front of him. What are you doing here? He pretended to be calm. You've been discharged from the hospital, so I wanted to see if you were feeling better. Lan Anran smiled and said. I'm all right, Mojin-Rong replied calmly. Lan Anran sat down and saw a photo of the little girl on the table. This must be Mo Ying. She wanted to pick up the photo and have a look, but Mojin-Rong snatched the photo from her. This is my sister Mo Ying. She's dead. Mojin-Rong spoke casually, but his heart was in pain. I know, Grandma mentioned it to me before. She hopes that you can move on. Lan Anran tried to persuade him. Mojin-Rong shook his head with a bitter smile. It won't be that easy. He looked at Mo Ying's photo and gently caressed it. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. You probably didn't come here just to see me, right? Mojin-Rong changed the subject. Of course, isn't it normal for a wife to care about her husband? Lan Anran inched closer to Mojin-Rong, but was afraid that his illness would flare up again, so she didn't dare to get too close. Our marriage was just a parental decision. I have no feelings for you. I hope you won't cover any feelings for me. Mojin-Rong spoke coldly as he stood up. I don't cover any feelings from you. I just like you. Lan Anran's blunt confession frightened Mojin-Rong, and he frowned at the woman in front of him. What do you want? Mojin-Rong looked at Lan Anran's passionate eyes, as if she was going to get him the next second, and he was a little scared. It's nothing, don't worry. I won't do anything to a patient like you. Lan Anran stood up and turned 2 rounds into the living room. This was the first time she came into the familiar house after her reincarnation. In her past life, she and Mojin-Rong had lived in this house for several years, so she was familiar with some of the rooms. Mojin-Rong looked at Lan Anran strangely. Suddenly, Mojin-Rong accidentally broke the wine glasses on the table, causing glass fragments to scatter all over the floor. His leg was scratched by the wine glass, and blood flowed out. Lan Anran hurriedly opened a drawer, took out a first aid kit, and sat down beside Mojin-Rong. Are you all right? Lan Anran asked with concern. Mojin-Rong was confused. The first aid kit hadn't been used in a long time, and even Mo-san didn't know where it was. How did she know? It's all right, I can do it myself. Mojin-Rong opened the first aid kit. Lan Anran sat further away and watched Mojin-Rong apply the medicine. She couldn't go on like this. She needed to go back and see if the medicine could be used on Mojin-Rong. After he was bandaged, Lan Anran spoke calmly. I'm leaving. Yanran is waiting for me. Anran picked up the things and placed them on the drawer. Okay, Mojin-Rong nodded and looked at the first aid kit. After Lan Anran left the Mo family, she went to Lu Taiyan's entertainment. Boss, are we still chasing? The man was panting. They followed Anran all the way to the Mo family's door. They couldn't accept seeing Anran in front of them. Go, follow her and tie her up. Fang Hai gradually approached Anran. Anran was about to go into the car when she felt someone behind her. Suddenly, just as she turned her head, a heavy blow landed on her back, and she fainted. You insolent little girl, how dare you trick me? I'll show you my power. Tie her up and take her away. Fang Hai gave the order. The henchman quickly stuffed Lan Anran into the car and took her away. When Anran woke up again, her hands and feet were tied and her mouth was stuffed. She was in a dark hut. She struggled to stand and saw a trace of light through the gap. It should be an old car factory outside. There were several people standing at the door. a roasted goose, and several bottles of wine on the table. Ha! How dare you trick me? Aren't you caught now? Fang Hai bragged. Boss, should we? A henchman had long coveted Ayn Rand's beauty, and he had never tasted such a young girl. Bastard, I'll kill you if you touch her. This is for money, Fang Hai cursed, pulling on a goose leg. Boss, are we really going to exchange this girl with the Land family? The employer wants us to kill her if the boss finds out. The henchman was a little worried. What are you afraid of? Just don't let them know. We'll kill her once we get the money. Fang Hai nibbled on his duck leg. Before I die, can you let me... The henchman rubbed his hands and smiled. Piss off, you're annoying. Fang Hai rebuked angrily. He didn't know how he raised these idiots. Ayn Rand heard everything from inside the house. She had to find a way to escape. It was dark in the room and she couldn't see anything. Ayn Rand could only knock on the door and make a sound. Woo woo woo. Fang Hai, who was outside, heard this and immediately rushed in to check. I'm warning you, don't pull any stunts. Fang Hai stood far away and warned her. He knew that she had many wicked ideas. Chapter 143. She was kidnapped. The henchman removed the cloth from her mouth and Ayn Rand called out, I really have a stomach ache. Ayn Rand pretended to have a stomach ache and rolled around on the ground. The door was open and she could finally see a trace of light. Boss, what should we do? The henchman had a headache. What should we do? I don't care. Just give her some painkillers. Fang Hai didn't want anything to happen to her. He had to get the money as soon as possible. Call the Land family and ask for a ransom of 1 billion yuan. The Land family is so rich. This brat must be very valuable. Fang Hai smiled. Yes. The henchman took out Ayn Rand's phone and found the phone locked. What's the password? Tell me. Ayn Rand rolled her eyes. Don't kill me. The password is 14380. The henchman was trying the passcode, while Ayn Rand was searching for something she could use. She turned her gaze and suddenly focused on the broken glass not far away from her. It's wrong, you brat. How dare you lie to me? The henchman threw down her phone and grabbed Ayn Rand's hair. Did you key it in wrongly? Ayn Rand spoke with a pained expression. No, tell me the passcode. Do you still want to live? I'll get some ransom for your parents and let you go. The henchmen were furious. Let me go and I'll give you the password. Ayn Rand's expression was still pained. Do you think I'm stupid? Tell me. This other smaller henchman threatened. 13568. Ayn Rand spoke. The henchman tried again and the phone unlocked, but his expression changed again. You brat, what's the hand signal password? The henchman broke down. Ayn Rand had a lot of secrets on her phone. In order to prevent others from peeking, she took 2 types of insurance. It's a little difficult. I can't explain it. I'll solve it for you. I want to go home. Ayn Rand deliberately pretended to be pitiful. Seeing Ayn Rand's pitiful appearance, Fang Hai figured that she wouldn't cause any more trouble, so he let her go. When no one was paying attention, Ayn Rand pressed the distress signal on her wrist and took the phone to unlock the passcode for Fang Hai. I'm warning you, don't play any tricks, Fang Hai warned. After Ayn Rand unlocked the passcode, she called Mo Jinrong directly, afraid that her parents would be worried. Hey, Dad, hurry and save me. I was kidnapped and you need to bring 1 million yuan to find me. Ayn Rand pretended to be pitiful. Mo Jinrong was a little confused when he received the call. He had just seen Ayn Rand. Was this some sort of scheme? Ayn Rand, what are you doing? He asked. Dad, please save me. She looked at Fang Hai and their eyes met. Wrong City's abandoned car factory. 1 hour. Fang Hai snatched the phone and hung up. Tie her up. Fang Hai continued. At this moment, Ayn Rand quietly took the glass fragments in her hand. At this time, Fatty was rushing to the abandoned car factory with his men. Fatty, we're lying in ambush. We aren't sure what happened to Boss and whether they have weapons, Skinny spoke. Fatty and his gang were lying in ambush on both sides of the car factory, thinking about how to save her. After Mo Jinrong hung up, he was stunned for a moment before following Mo San to the Lu Taiyan Entertainment. Lan Yanran had just finished his rehearsal and was preparing to go home, sweating profusely, when he bumped into Mo Jinrong. Sis, where is Sis? Yanran asked. Your sister isn't here? Mojang asked curiously, frowning. She's not here. Did something happen to Sis? Lan Yanran had a bad feeling. His instincts were better than a female's. Mojang didn't speak. He thought about something. Anran really must have been kidnapped. He left Lutai Entertainment directly while Yanran called for his father and mother. Mom, Dad, it's not good. Something happened to Sis. Leo panicked. What's wrong? Did something happen to your sister? I don't know. Just now, Mojang came to ask me if she was here. I said no. His face didn't look right. Something must have happened to her. Yanran was certain. Leo fainted, and Lan Tingyun took the phone, asking anxiously, What happened to your sister? How did something happen to such a well-behaved child? Call the police. Dad, I'll go with Mojang to take a look. Don't worry, Yanran spoke. Lan Tingyun hung up the phone and helped Leo up. Honey, wake up, he shouted. Leo opened her eyes in a daze and asked weakly, How is Anran? What happened to her? Must be your mom. It's your mom's fault. Your mom doesn't like Anran, and Anran doesn't like her either. It's your mom. Leo was anxious to get even with Zhao Shumi. Lan Tingyun thought about it and agreed. This definitely had something to do with his mother. Lan Tingyi's house. These past few days, Xu Yanshan had been complaining about old Mrs. Lan to her husband, complaining that she was difficult to please. She had never seen her so difficult in the villa. Lan Tingyi, when are you buying old Mrs. Lance's house back? I can't take it, Xu Yanshan complained. Chapter 144, It's Definitely You. What's wrong? Mom just wants to eat some supplements like sea cucumbers, abalones, and ginseng. You just buy it for her then. Old Mrs. Lan will be better than anything once she's comforted. Lan Tingyi didn't care and said, Where do we get the money from? I haven't bought a bag in over a week, Xu Yanshan said heartbrokenly. Good wife, Mom definitely has money. There will be benefits if you serve her well, Lan Tingyi comforted wife. Xu Yanshan was about to speak when Lan Tingyun and his wife came knocking on the door. Who? Debtors? Xu Yanshan opened the door angrily. Sis-in-law, where is Mom? Lan Tingyun helped Leo up anxiously. Why are you looking for Mom? We should be the ones taking care of her. You're not coming to take her away, right? Xu Yanshan was anxious to have a clear line. Tingyun, you haven't been here in a few days. Why are you here today? Let's go. Don't think I'll be grateful just because you helped me. That's what you should do. I'm your brother. Lan Tingyi thought that they were here to ask for money and chase him away. Mom, come out. Why did you hurt Anran? Anran is such a well-behaved child. How could you bear to hurt her? Leo shouted. What did you say? Something happened to Anran? Xu Yanshan was a little surprised and delighted. To think that this brat would have such a day. Zhao Shumi was sleeping in the room when she heard the commotion and came out. What? I'm not dead yet. Why are you crying? Zhao Shumi cursed. Mom, were you the one who caused Anran's accident? Lan Tingyun asked. What? Something happened to that brat? Zhao Shumi was surprised, but there was a trace of excitement in her eyes, which made Lan Tingyun even angrier. Mom, she is your biological granddaughter. How could you bear to kill her? Where is Anran now? Let her go. Lan Tingyun chided. Mom, Anran is just a child. How could you do this? I'll kill you if you dare to hurt her, Leo warned. Zhao Shumi heard them accusing her of harming that brat, and she was furious. Does Lan Anran's death have anything to do with me, that uninfiled thing? How dare you come up and question me? I'm telling you, I can't wait for her to die. I want to thank that person for resolving my problem. Zhao Shumi couldn't help but feel overjoyed. Mom, did you really do it? Lan Tingyun asked in disbelief. Bastard, I'm not an old fool, and I haven't reached that stage. I hope I have the ability to do so. That brat defied our elders, beat her, and broke our relationship. She deserves to die, but I didn't dare to lay a finger on her. When Zhao Shumi lost her temper, her eyes were bloodshot. She couldn't bear being accused. Who else could it be? You just don't like Anran. Leo was furious. Her good daughter was fine and when she went out, but when she was gone in the afternoon, she was anxious. Bastard, as expected of you. You have no manners. No wonder your children have no manners also. Man, that shrew was taught by you. I don't care what happens to that brat. Lin Ting Young, you have to get a divorce. This is outrageous. In the past few decades in the Lan family, the jinx has exposed the moment she returned. Li Yiro, don't think that you're so great just because that jinx married Mo Jinrong. Get a divorce with my son immediately. It's all your fault that the Lan family became like this. You gave birth to a pure trash, you useless thing. Zhao Shimi cursed. Enough. Mom, it's better not be you. Ran will be safe. He didn't want to listen to Zhao Shimi's nagging anymore. Ran's safety was the most important thing right now. Lan Yaxin, who was hiding in the room, snickered. Ran, you better die. The abandoned car factory. Ran was tied up again and Fang Hai smiled. I'm rich. Boss, should we inform our employer? The henchman asked. Are you a pig? Why should we tell him? We can talk about it after we get the money and kill this brat. We can earn another sum. Fang Hai couldn't stop smiling. Fatty quietly approached the car factory. There were abandoned cars everywhere. There was only one exit in front and behind. They could only hide at the base of the wall. Mo Jinrong had arrived at the abandoned car factory. He didn't bring 1 billion yuan as he strolled in. Hey, did you really kidnap Ran? Mo Jinrong shouted. Fang Hai was taken aback, but his henchman spoke up. That brat's father is so young? Fang Hai glared at him. That's her brother. Mo-san couldn't help but chuckle. It seemed that these robbers weren't very smart. Release her, Ran shouted. What a joke. You think I'll let her go just like that? Where's my money? Fang Hai was dissatisfied when he saw that their hands were empty. It isn't safe for you to bring 1 billion yuan outside, right? There's 1 billion yuan in this card. Take it and let Ran go. Mo Jinrong took out a black card. Fang Hai got someone to bring Ran out. At this time, Ran had used a piece of glass to separate the rope and had accidentally cut her skin. Sis, are you alright? Ran wanted to help Ran, but was stopped by Fang Hai. Wait, you guys, retreat outside. Outside has a bigger space. Fang Hai thought it would be easier to run with the money later. Chapter 145. He is the mastermind? After Ran was dragged outside, Fang Hai spoke again. We want a car. Give us your car. Mo Jinrong threw the car keys on the ground without hesitation. When the henchman went to pick it up, Ran suddenly exerted strength and took out the glass fragment in her hand, which was stained with blood. She grabbed Fang Hai's arm, threw him over her shoulder, and placed the glass against his neck. You... what? You dare to kidnap me. Tell me, who sent you? Ran began the interrogation. The henchmen couldn't accept that their boss was caught. One of them took out a dagger in his hand and stabbed it at Ran. Mo Jinrong reacted swiftly, stretching out his long legs and kicking the henchman to the ground. The dagger fell on the ground and the others panicked, fleeing in all different directions. Hey, you ingrates, come back here, Fang Hai shouted anxiously. I just wanted to earn some money, Fang Hai cried. You're still not telling the truth? You want money, right? I'll spill more on your grave. Ran spoke and was about to attack when Fang Hai trembled in fear. It's Boss Mo. He told me to kill you and to give us a sum of money. Don't kill me, please. Ran looked at Mo Jinrong with a frighteningly sharp expression. Miss Lan, why would young master kill you? It's definitely not him, Mo-san hurriedly explained. Of course I know it's not him. It's just that the Mo family is too dangerous. Ran looked at Mo Jinrong. You're injured, Mo Jinrong spoke unhurriedly. Ran then noticed her wound on her arm. There was a red wound about 5 centimeters long and that was bleeding, which was becoming more and more obvious on her fair skin. It's all right. Sis, you were so cool just now. When Ran saw his sister's shoulder throw, he was amazed. At this moment, Fatty and the others had just finished dealing with the little thieves that were lying on the ground. Miss Lan, it's my fault. I was greedy. Let me go. I don't want to be jailed. Fang Hai pleaded. Ran was about to speak when the siren sounded. Why are the police here? Ran was a little surprised. Are you afraid of them? Mo Jinrong asked curiously. I'm not scared. I just don't like it. Ran never liked the police and would stay far away from them. Sis, I'm sorry. Mom and Dad called the police. I was in a hurry and told them something happened to you. Yanran lowered his head like a kid who had done something wrong. You child, I was afraid Mom and Dad would be worried, and you told them. Fang Hai, you don't have a chance anymore. Yanran released Fang Hai easily and handed him over to the police. Strange, why are these people lying here? The policeman asked. Mojiro walked forward to take a look. It was the gangsters from before. Didn't they run away? Were there other people around? After that, Mojiro sent Yanran and her brother home. Miss Lan will definitely investigate this matter, Mo-san promised. Yeah. Yanran held Yanran's hand the entire time and gave Lan Tingyang and her mother a call along the way. Great, Yanran is alright. Liu seemed to come to life. What a tough life. Zhao Shimi rolled her eyes at Liu. At this moment, Yaxin walked out pretentiously. Senko uncle is here. Why is this like this? She was a little upset. Yanran was fine. She wasn't happy at all. It's alright. Xu Yanshin was also displeased. Mom, she is your granddaughter. You can't do this even if you don't like her. Lan Tingyang was dissatisfied. What about me? We haven't seen each other in 20 years. What feelings could there be? Don't talk nonsense. Give me the pension money this month. I don't have any abalone porridge here. Zhao Shimi reached out for the money. Mom, you only know how to ask for money. I'm just an ATM. Lan Tingyang was dissatisfied. Hubby, let's stop here and go home to see Yanran. I'm worried she's injured. Liu was anxious. She didn't know how her daughter was doing, and she didn't want to stay another minute. Mom, I'll give you the retirement fee later. Lan Tingyang laughed, and Zhao Shimi felt that she had raised her son in vain. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. Mom, calm down. I'll buy some abalones later. Xu Yanshin smiled and said. The moment Yanran went home, she saw Liu running around looking exhausted. Daughter, Yanran, what's wrong? Are you all right? Liu looked up and down. She cried when she saw the arm. It was such a long wound that made her heart ache. It's all right, Mom. I'm all right. It's not a big deal. The bad guys are all caught. Yanran smiled as though nothing had happened. You worried me to death. You just came to the city. Who is it that wants to harm you? Lan Tingyang asked sincerely. I don't know. Maybe he just wants money. Jinrong saved me today. I didn't say it because I was afraid you would be worried. That brat has a quick tongue. Yanran pointed to Yanran. You're blaming him? You'll have to thank Mr. Mo today. Will you stay for your dinner? Liu smiled. Mo-san was taken aback. There's no need. We're going back. Chapter 146, Trouble Comes. Why not? Hurry in. It's all because of you that Yanran is safe and sound today. We have to thank you. Lan Tingyang pulled Mo-san and Mo Jinrong inside. Yanran, let me bandage your wound. Liu was heartbroken. She didn't know there would be an ugly scar on her fair and tender skin. Dad, you have no idea how capable Sis was back then. Yanran still couldn't forget the scene just now. In the living room, he described the situation to Lan Tingyang and his wife. Liu was frightened when she heard this. It's not that exaggerated. I just watched it on TV and learned from it. Yanran finished bandaging her wound and sat in the living room. Jinrong, sit here for a while. I'll cook and it'll be ready soon. Liu stood up and walked into the kitchen. Mo Jinrong didn't want to eat here, but he couldn't resist the Lan couple's enthusiasm. His parents passed away very early, and he barely knew a mother's love. He didn't know why, but now he wanted to stay. Jinrong, do you think the robbers are really after money? Lan Tingyang asked. I don't know, but they asked for 1 billion. Mo-san shook his head. This time it was very likely that Mo Chang-wen had hired someone to kill her, but he didn't know the reason yet. Aren't they asking for too much? Although the Lan family operates a hospital, we can't gather 1 billion in such a short notice. It's all thanks to you, Jinrong. Lan Tingyang's gratitude was beyond words. It's alright. Yanran is now a member of the Mo family. I should save her. Mo-san spoke politely. In the next hour, Mo-san and the Lan family chatted enthusiastically. Mo Jinrong listened by the side and occasionally smiled. This was the first time he had experienced such a heartwarming scene. The Mo family was always scheming against each other, so we enjoyed the Lan family's atmosphere a lot. The food is ready, let's eat, Liu smiled. Butler Mo, you should also eat. Lan Anran smiled and said. Lan Tingyun looked at the dining table. Jinrong, Anran has been married to you for such a long time, but you haven't mentioned your family. Are they all right? Grandma's in good health. Mo-san looked at Mo Jinrong. Dad, let's eat. Why are you asking so many questions? Hurry up and eat. Anran nudged her father. Okay, I won't talk. I didn't take good care of Anran when she was in the countryside all these years. I feel like I owe her. It's good that our daughter is all right. Lan Tingyun sighed. Mo Jinrong didn't move his chopsticks for a long time. He yearned for such an atmosphere, but wasn't used for it. Anran gave Mo Jinrong a piece of meat and placed it in front of him. Hurry and eat. My mom's food is delicious. Anran smiled, her deer-like eyes slightly narrowed and occasionally flickered, her slightly upturned eyelashes jumping up and down. This made Mo Jinrong's heart beat faster, and he subconsciously blushed. He didn't notice it, but just nodded with a smile to have a taste. It did taste like a mother's love. How is it? Is it delicious? Anran smiled and asked. Why don't you treat everyone equally? Give Jinrong one too. Lan Tingyun seemed to sense something amiss as well and spoke immediately. It's all right. He doesn't like meat. Anran looked at Mo-san. Yes, I don't like meat. Mo-san wanted to cry. Was he going to eat grass next? You should have said so. I'm not cooking any meat next time. Lier was apologetic. It's all right. We still need to eat. Anran continued. Anran, Jinrong is your husband. You must treat him well in the future. He is your favorite, and now that you're married, you must pay attention to your words and actions and don't tarnish the name of the Lan family or the Mo family. Lan Tingyun reminded Anran. I know, Dad. I will treat Jinrong well. Anran picked up some vegetables for Mo-san. Mo-san was on the verge of tears. There was a table of meat, but he could only eat vegetables. At this moment, the Lan family's door rang. Anran found it strange that someone would come to her house so late at night. She walked over and opened the door. Zhao Shumi and Lan Tingyi's family stood at the door looking at Anran solemnly. Anran, you survived a disaster. We were worried sick when we heard that you were kidnapped. Shu Yanshan was slightly worried. Why haven't I seen any calls from you? You don't seem worried at all. Anran spoke calmly. Bastard, are you doubting me? Zhao Shumi spoke. Grandma, you're here too. Are you here to see me? Anran smiled and asked. Zhao Shumi was even more furious because it seemed like she was an outsider. Bastard, I want to talk to your father. Get him out here, Zhao Shumi said furiously. Lan Tingyun walked over when he heard the voice. Mom, why are you here? You still remember me? Why haven't you sent over the retirement fee? Zhao Shumi asked, as her shrewd eyes glanced inside. When she saw the man who had an affair with Lan Anran, she was furious. How dare he come to their house for a meal so blatantly? She rushed in. Chapter 147, Agree to Help. Great, how dare you come to our house for a meal when you're having an affair with her? She's too arrogant. Mo Jinrong didn't speak, staring straight at her. Mom, what are you saying? These are the saviors who saved Anran today, Butler Mo and Jinrong. They are Anran's saviors. How can you say that to them? Lan Tingyun was dissatisfied. Her savior? She must have concealed the truth in order to have an affair. Zhao Shumi was panting, her chest rising and falling visibly. Mom, how could you insult Anran's reputation? Jinrong is also here. How can the kids stay in Mo family if you say that? Lier protected her daughter. I want to show young Master Mo how shameless Anran is. She isn't my granddaughter, nor is she a granddaughter of the Lan family. Zhao Shumi scolded Mo Jinrong. Old Mrs. Zhao, you're being too much. Anran is the young mistress of the Mo family. I know her best. Saying such words is an insult to the Mo family's reputation. Mo-san stood up. Young Master Mo, you didn't know that this unfiled girl had an affair with your butler. It was them the last time. I saw them in the hotel room. Zhao Shumi pointed at two of them with a trembling finger. Nonsense. I let you off the last time when old Mrs. Lan was in the shopping mall because you were older. I didn't expect you to be so ignorant. It's bad enough that you're old, but now you're so shrewd. It seems like you won't give up until you run into a wall. Mo-san was extremely serious when he was angry, and even Anran was a little scared. Yaxin, who was behind her, couldn't wait for the situation to escalate so that they could start a fight. She wasn't happy with Ayn Rand, who wasn't injured at all. What are you trying to do? Don't think that because the Mo family is rich that you can bully us. We're not afraid of you. Lantingy trembled. Uncle, have you thought about how to return my dad's $5 million? It's been half a month and you're still using your elder's money? Or are you waiting for Grandma's retirement money? Ayn Rand smiled and said, Why should I give it to you? What proof do you have that I took it? Lantingy wanted to play dumb, but Ayn Rand knew that he would do so. She took out her phone and turned on the recording. She had started recording as soon as they entered, which was much simpler than what was written in black and white. Damn it, so what if I borrowed the money? Your dad is my brother, so he should give me the money. Does he need a little girl like you to ask me for it every day? Your dad hasn't even said anything, and you're always interfering. Lantingy was dissatisfied. Mom, we'll give you the retirement money later. Why don't you leave now? Lyra was afraid that there would be another fight, and it wouldn't end well. After all, she was an old woman, and it wouldn't be good if she was beaten up bloodily. Hey, are you chasing me away? My son hasn't replied yet. Mojurong, you didn't listen to what I said today, and you're going to regret it. When the time comes, don't say that old Mrs. Land didn't remind you. That brat is an ingrate. Dashumi rolled her eyes at Ayn Rand and sat down. Mom, what exactly are you trying to do? Lantingy was helpless. What do I want? Lantingy, I'm here today for two purposes. The first is to ask for money, and the other is to help your brother settle down. I'm living in his house now. He doesn't have any money, and I'm running out of money. You have to find him a job, one that is high salary. The work has to be easy so he can get off work any time. He shouldn't work overtime either because your brother can't be tired. He has to feed his family. Zhao Shimi crossed her legs and said, Lantingy was helpless. Where was he going to find such a job? Mom, are you making things difficult for me? Where can someone like Tingy find such a job? I don't care. I'll leave your brother to you. Aren't you unwilling to let him be a doctor in the hospital? Find him some work so you can fork out money to start a company for him. Besides, he needs to feed his family. He's your biological brother. If you don't help him, who will? Zhao Shimi picked up a pair of chopsticks and ate leisurely. Mom, Tingyung, who can't take the suffering and can't listen to orders, how could we find him a job for him? Lyra was conflicted. Lyra, weren't you pretty tough in Tingy's house just now? Now you know how to call me Mom? I don't care. Your brother is the head of the family. You should help him. Zhao Shimi continued. Is the head of the family so useless? Ayn Rand muttered. Zhao Shimi had sharp ears and could hear everything. Bastard, that's your uncle. How dare you speak to him like that? The elders of the family have no manners while the young ones are on file. Ayn Rand, what are you saying? Lantingy chided. Mom, I don't want the $5 million you want anymore. Just treat it as a startup fund for me. There's no need to pay it back. You guys can start your own company after you earn some money. I'll give you some subsidies. Lantingy was at a loss for words. Dad, why are you... Ayn Rand was obviously dissatisfied, but she couldn't say anything at this point. Bullshit. The $5 million was used to pay off his debts. How is your brother going to start a company? Lantingy, I'm old, but I'm not senile. You say you don't have any money, but don't you have a rich son-in-law? He can be considered a member of the Land family. It's only right that you help your uncle, right? Zhao Shimi spoke in a cryptic tone. Mo Jinrong sneered. The Mo family is the Mo family, and the Land family is the Land family. The Mo family doesn't have a bunch of vampires, and we won't feed them. It has nothing to do with you when I'm talking to young Master Mo. Don't think I don't know about the affair between you and Ayn Rand. You guys wouldn't believe me even if I told you. It's alright, don't cry if you end up suffering. Zhao Shimi spoke fiercely. Chapter 148, The Figure Behind. His words are mine. Old Mrs. Zhao, Ayn Rand is the young lady of the Mo family. If you continue to behave like this, don't blame me for suing you. I have a lot of good lawyers. Mo San spoke solemnly. Young Master Mo, we are very aware that you're the only one who doesn't mind being a cuckold. I don't know whether to compliment your generosity or stupidity, Shu Yanshan sneered. I don't know why you accuse me, but I know that I don't like Grandma. Even though Dad helped Uncle, Grandma still doesn't like me, and Aunt doesn't like me either. But I can't accept you accusing me of such a thing. If you accuse me of having an affair, I won't take it anymore. Ayn Rand felt wronged. Won't take it anymore. Don't act innocent. What can you do to me? Shu Yanshan crossed her arms and smiled. What can we do? You probably won't be able to stay in wrong city anymore, much less find a job. Mo-san spoke calmly, his eyes cold, resembling Mo Jinrong. Shu Yanshin started to panic. Mo Jinrong was someone who could shook the entire wrong city with just one stomp. It was possible that his words were accurate. If her family wasn't in wrong city, where else could they go? Mom, let's talk about things matter. It won't do us any good being stubborn. We might really be chased out, Shu Yanshan whispered. Yeah, Lan Tingyang, I won't leave without your help today. Zhao Shimi sat obediently on the stool, looking like a nail clipper. Mom, you... Lan Tingyang looked at the surrounding people helplessly. Okay, I'll help. I'll try my best to find him a job. Lan Tingyang had no choice. Zhao Shimi and Lan Tingyi's family were overjoyed. There was finally hope in the future. Okay, don't forget to transfer the money on my card. Let's go home. Zhao Shimi smiled and walked towards the door. Sis, you must keep your promise. We will come again. Yaxin smiled at Anran before leaving. After the troublesome family left, Lan Tingyang smiled awkwardly. Sorry for making a fool of myself. It's all right. Mo-san shook his head. Hubby, how could you agree to this? How can you have a job to find for like this? It's too difficult. Leah was a little worried. We have to find one even if we can't. Lan Tingyang sat down and sighed. I'm full. I have something to do at the company, so we'll be leaving. Mo-san smiled as he said, Sorry, I made a fool of myself today. Lan Tingyang apologized. It's all right. Nothing's wrong. Mo-san waved his hand, stood up and left with Mo Jinrong. Ayn Rand, send them off. Lan Tingyang smiled and said. Ayn Rand followed and caught up with Mo Jinrong. Jinrong, thank you for protecting me today. Ayn Rand's eyes was glowing in the darkness. Yeah, Mo Jinrong only said one word and didn't dare to look at Ayn Rand's eyes. He didn't know why, but he felt nervous when they looked at each other. Miss Lan, you can go back first. We're leaving. Mo-san got into the car. Okay. Ayn Rand watched as the car drove away. Mo-san asked curiously in the car, Young master, did you notice anything today? You noticed the two? Mo Jinrong closed his eyes. Yeah, the Lan family is so arrogant. Mo Jinrong didn't say anything. There's something wrong with Lan Ayn Rand, he spoke softly. When she subdued Fang Hai today, he realized that she wasn't weak. I can tell that Miss Lan really has a lot of secrets. Mo-san nodded and said, Tomorrow there will be a board meeting. Inform everyone. They should be given a warning. Mo Jinrong spoke in a deep voice. All right. After getting a satisfactory answer, Zhao Shimi's family walked to the carefree aura, their faces full of joy. Yaxin, we have a good life ahead of us. Your second uncle will definitely find a position as the hospital director for your father. It will be easy and he has a high salary. Shu Yanshan was overjoyed. Yeah, Yaxin nodded. Under the dim yellow street light, a 2-meter-long figure gradually approached. The family didn't notice anything and continued to walk. There was a bus stop in front. To supplement their family's income, several cars had been sold out. Now they could only take the public bus. This was the last bus at the time. They got into the public bus first, followed by Yaxin and the person in a mask and a cap. The person had his head lowered in silence, looking very sinister. The hour-long journey finally arrived. Yaxin alighted and so did the stranger. Mom, Dad, are we being followed? Why is he following us? Yaxin was a little scared. Lan Tingyi looked back and saw the person behind had turned into another intersection. He comforted his daughter. Don't be scared. We're about to reach home. He's just going the same way as us. Don't be scared. Yaxin was relieved to see that the man was gone. Zhao Shimi and Yaxin were squeezed on the same bed. Yaxin was squeezed to the point that there was only a small area, so she might as well sleep on the ground. However, she couldn't escape Zhao Shimi's snoring, and she hadn't slept well the entire night. Chapter 149, Warning. The next day, Yaxin went to school yawning. She heard the news of the test as soon as she arrived, and that was to attract talent from the Wrong City Medical Research Institute. Yaxin, don't be nervous. You'll definitely do well. Yang King smiled. Yaxin wasn't nervous, but she was afraid of running into Ayn Rand. I heard that the test this time isn't simple. It was personally issued by Jin Lin, the head of the Research Institute. The difficulty level far exceeds the previous competition. Gu Qi was a little worried. Jin Lin was known to be a great god. He never issues tests, but once he does, it will be difficult to pass. Legend has it that only one person had passed his test, but his whereabouts were unknown. In the neighboring class, Ayn Rand had heard about it as well, but she hadn't taken it to heart. Anyway, she would deal with whatever came her way. There was nothing to be afraid of. Ayn Rand, what happened to your arm? Ayn Rand's arm was wrapped in a thick gauze and looked horrifying. It's all right. I accidentally scratched myself. Ayn Rand smiled and said, Have you heard? There was a kidnapping incident in Ron City yesterday. I don't know who was kidnapped, but she seems to be a rich young lady, and they asked for 1 billion yuan. Zhao Xiaolei was a little surprised. Ayn Rand paused in silence. Ayn Rand, the test is about to start. You said you would teach me, Sun Hai walked over and said. Although there were exams coming up, she, Ayn Rand, and Yaxin were definitely among the top candidates. They were the school's best students, so how could they escape? Okay, let's go somewhere tomorrow, Ayn Rand spoke calmly. Sun Hai nodded and turned to leave. Ayn Rand, are you really going to teach Sun Hai? Zhao Xiaolei was in disbelief. She's a talent, Ayn Rand spoke. Sun Hai was a good seedling, and Ayn Rand wanted to use her to suppress Yaxin. It would be better to have one more helper than one more enemy. At this moment, Li Yu walked in holding a bucket. Students, quiet down. You should have already heard about the test. Because of this, the midterms are delayed. This is the buckets of lots. Some lots show you how to attend the test, while some don't. Those who draw lots will take the test. Ayn Rand, Sun Hai, the two of you don't have to draw. You must take the test. Li Yu called out to her students to draw the lots. Zhao Xiaolei prayed she wouldn't get in. She didn't want to take the test. She just wanted to be a doctor. Unfortunately, things didn't go as she wished. She really drew the word go, and her heart turned cold. Lin Cheng was luckier, but not drawing it meant he could play. The students who drew the lots report to me after class. Don't even think about escaping. I know the answer. Li Yu smiled, put down the bucket, and started class. Mo Corporation. The conference room was packed, and everyone was dressed in suits and whispering. Do you know why Boss Mo is holding a shareholders meeting today? They shook their heads. I don't know, but nothing good will come out of it. Every time a shareholders meeting was held, they would either get scolded or be thrown a tantrum. This time it didn't look good. Don't speak later. Let's see what Mo Changwen will do. He is Boss's Mo uncle. He can't put righteousness before family, right? An older man with a grizzled beard spoke. They nodded. At this time, Mo-san and Mo Jinrong walked in aggressively. Mo-san sat down and Mo Jinrong placed the documents on the table one by one. Everyone was dumbfounded, not knowing what to do. Boss Mo, what are you doing? It's just a shareholders meeting and you didn't inform me beforehand? I was in such a hurry. Didn't you know how busy I was? The younger ones were dissatisfied. Mo-san said angrily, Why isn't Mo Changwen here yet? No one in the conference room spoke, and no one knew where Mo Changwen had gone. Gu Wang, if I remember correctly, you've been freeloading in the Mo family enterprise for decades. Now that you're so tough, what are you busy with? Picking up girls or emptying the Mo family's money? Mo Jinrong's aura intensified and Wu Gang was at a loss for words. Over the years, he had indeed embezzled a lot of the Mo family's money and raised several mistresses. His life was indeed pretty good. What did you say? You're just a butler? Who are you to speak? Wu Gang was unwilling. He represents me. Have a look at this list. Mo-san threw the roster in front of him, out for everyone to see. Those with names written on it, stand up, Mo-san continued. Sorry, I'm late. I was accused and it took a long time to explain. Mo Changwen arrived late and said, Director Mo, you're here on time. Mo Jinrong smiled. I don't know the purpose of this board meeting, but I'll definitely support all of Jinrong's decision. Mo Changwen smiled. Really? Where did everyone on the list go? Mo-san said an outburst shocked everyone. The people on the list slowly stood up. Jinrong, what's happening? Mo Changwen asked. Director Mo, the people on this list are all dishonest. They embezzle public funds and empty the company. They are the company's vampires and vermin. Do you think we should clean them up? Mo Jinrong smiled and asked. Chapter 150. To kick someone to the curb when they outlive their usefulness. Boss Mo, you don't have to hold a shareholders meeting over such a small matter. Besides, we grew up with the Mo Family Corporation. Even if we don't have any contributions, we have worked hard. You can't kick us to the curb now that we outlived our usefulness. Wu Gang smiled and said, Kick to the curb after you outlived your usefulness? Tell us, what have you done for the Mo family? Haven't you sucked enough blood ever since the Mo family was founded? Without the shareholders meeting, some people probably don't know their own abilities. One has to pay for their mistakes. Don't think about escaping. Mo San spoke solemnly. Mo Chang-wen looked at Mo Jin-rong, knowing that this was a warning. You have been fired. From now on, you're not a shareholder of the Mo Family Corporation. You are not allowed to step into the Mo Family Corporation again. Mo Jin-rong gave the order. Jin-rong, these are the offsprings of emeritus members of the Mo family. You should save some face for your father's generation, Mo Chang-wen persuaded. Save face? I see that they must be uncle's accomplices. These are the Mo family's vermin. It's time to get rid of them. Mo San didn't stand on ceremony. Today, he was Mo Jin-rong, making an example out of him. Mo Chang-wen was slightly taken aback and spoke with dissatisfaction. What accomplice? I don't have any accomplices. It's just that... That's good, uncle. You should stay clean too, Mo San continued. Mo Chang-wen didn't speak. If he hadn't helped Mo Jin-rong conceal his identity, he would have chopped Mo San to pieces. If Mo Jin-rong's identity was exposed, everyone would know that he was ill, and there would be countless people coming to seek revenge. Although he wanted to do the same, it was too obvious and deliberate. It wouldn't be good for him, so he could only help conceal the truth. Damn it, is this how the Mo family treats their elders? Mo Chang-wen, I was wrong about you. As expected, the Mo family doesn't have any good people. I'm so disappointed. If your dad was here, he definitely wouldn't have agreed, Wu Gang said in dissatisfaction. He will never agree to let you feed on him. On account of your status as an elder, we won't ask you to return the money you owed. Now please leave. Mo San didn't even glance up as he spoke. Wu Gang left with a few others in anger. Everyone, please have a look at this roster. Mo Jin-rong threw out a second name list and everyone gasped. The conference room fell silent. Those names on the list, stand up, Mo San spoke. In an instant, 7 or 8 people stood up in the conference room. We don't feed on the company. We're the most honest people here. A middle-aged woman in her 40s with straight hair said in horror, Honest person? You're Sun Jin, right? Look at your work schedule. The company doesn't raise useless people. You have been a shareholder of the Mo Family Corporation for 5 years. And in these 5 years, you have taken so many days of leave that exceeds the amount of days you've worked. Sometimes you even skip work. The company isn't your house where you can come and go as you want. If you don't want to work, then leave the company, Mo San continued. This batch of fired shareholders are lazy and only care about enjoying themselves. The Mo Corporation doesn't need them. Mo Jin-rong glanced at Mo Chang-wen with a mocking tone. So be it. What's the big deal about this? I'm not willing to serve anyone. Sun Jin was the first to leave the conference room, followed by others. There was only one person standing there, seemingly unwilling to leave. Why, do you want the security officers to invite you out? Mo Jin-rong asked coldly. Why should I leave? This company wasn't like this in the past. I didn't do anything. You can't fire me. Yan Taiyan sat down, unwilling to leave. I was lax in managing the company in the past, and some people behaved insolently. Are you Yan Taiyan? You're the smallest shareholder. The company allowed you to join because you're your dad. What are you doing every day? You either go out to pick up girls or bring girls into the company to bully your female subordinates. The company doesn't need a shareholder like you to take some space. Security, chase him out and don't let him come in ever again, Mo San shouted towards the door. 2 security officers came in and forcibly dragged Yan Taiyan out. Let go, I'll leave myself. Yan Taiyan broke free from the security guards and strode out. A portion of the conference room was empty again. Next list. You don't need me to remind you, just get out. Mo Jin-rong glanced at the name list, which was on the table still. These are people who are couch potatoes and are old-timers, those who are always late for work, those who had trouble at home every day, and those who are sick. Get out." And 2 or 3 of them didn't speak, walking out of the conference room with their heads lowered. There were about 10 other shareholders left in the conference room, and their hearts were beating rapidly. "Of course, I'm a person who distinguishes rewards and punishments. The rest of you will get triple your salary and a bonus this month. Remember, this is in the company. Don't harbor any malicious thoughts, or you won't be so lucky next time. It won't just be a matter of dismissal," Mo-san smiled and said. Mo Jinrong smiled at Mo Chang-wen, warning him not to go overboard. "Jinrong, you're such a good boss. We're all very grateful," Mo Chang-wen said gratefully.